Countries are turning to AI into a weapon against the U.S. A new report from Microsoft finds Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea have increased the use of AI to create fake content, spread disinformation, and launch cyber attacks. Joining us now is Ahmed Benafa, a tech professor at San Jose State. Ahmed, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Andre. Good talking to you.
Let's step back to the Amazon outage here. You heard in that story there were that as much as 1/3 of the global cloud infrastructure is going through Amazon Web Services. That is a lot for one company here. Give us your take on how this all went down.
Well, it's a scary scenario because if you have few companies like Amazon and Google and Microsoft, they have about 90% of the infrastructure of what's going on the internet now. You have three targets. All what you're going to do is just attack one of them, and you're going to cripple so many of the services. You know, I'm telling you that even on the side of the academic Canvas, which is one of the famous, platform for the student to access information about the classes, was down. For the whole period. So what they do is destabilize the trust in the digital infrastructure of the country, and that's going to create a lot of questions.
All right. So I guess my question is, if or just a few companies control, access to some of our important resources, what can be done in the future to prevent something like this from happening, whether it was intentional or not? Because we don't know what happened here with Amazon, I guess.
That is true, until we hear from them, and we know that from last time it was just a faulty update and cascade to the rest of the network. The issue here, it is actually twofold. Number one is the responsibility of the companies to prepare for the worst scenario. A worst case scenario. Just assume that something going to happen like this, and then you're going to have a backup plan. And then there are technical terms for that, the technical ways of doing that. Number two is the government. The regulation is, the investigation, the report, and making sure that nothing like that happened. Because this is really a weak point in the system.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you about government regulation as well, because, if you are a lawmaker in the government here, so much of what you use, because government services are on these systems as well as consumer services as well. Wouldn't that necessitate stepping in for regulation to figure out how to prevent this from happening in the future from a governance standpoint? Because the companies, that's one thing, but the government's supposed to look out for the citizens as well, right?
I agree with you, and this is why we need not just regulation. We need actually strong regulations and laws and some kind of penalties that will stop them from being a little bit on the relaxed side when it comes to those worst case scenario. Because all what you need just one time, and then you can see the impact of this. And I think a few years ago we had the same situation where all the airports in the world just being struck by a wrong update. This is the issue we are talking about, which is you always, in the case of the cybersecurity, you do something called pen test, which is, the penetration test, which is you go and play all the scenarios, and then what's going to be your answer for that. The problem, Andre, here is preparing for the worst case scenario costs money. And this is the last thing companies will think about it, to have, a duplication of the infrastructure or even some kind of a quick backup until everything goes up and working.
That money, it always comes down to that, but it is something that probably needs to be addressed at some point in the future. Let's get to this story now. Russia, China, Iran, North Korea using AI to improve their cyber attacks on U.S. companies here. This is also pretty scary when you look at some of these big companies, the government out there. Tell us about the report and what its findings revealed by Microsoft.
Well, the report is 85 pages. It's really full of good information about what we should know about how AI is creeping into the cybersecurity dark side, not the good side. They mention about 200 attacks, AI-driven attacks in 1 month, which is about 10 times what we have in 2023. The problem with the AI is actually as a tool for cybersecurity attack. It is automate the attack, scale up the attack, and actually change the attack. If you discover that somebody is, having surveillance or somebody is taking your information, the AI can change this kind of attack to something else.
Wow.
So you're not dealing just one attack and you stop it and you say, okay, we're safe. It's going to morph itself into a new attack, and this is where is the problem.
And one more thing here. The U.S. is a top target for cyber attacks more than any other country in the world. Can you use AI to counter these cyber attacks from these foreign countries?
Absolutely, and the report also talk about the preparedness of the companies. The companies are using old protocols to fight new kind of attacks. The important thing is that to upgrade everything, include that AI is a possibility for any kind of attack. Just simple, example, Andre, about it. An email that's sent for as a phishing email, which is 90% of the attack done through the phishing email. Sometimes you know about it because of the grammar, because of the structure of the email. AI can change it to whatever the accent, the location, the language used in that area or by that sector. And this is the way you cannot even know what's going on because it looks like it's legitimate. Deep fake is another one. Misinformation, disinformation is another part of the process here. One of the attacks that mentioned in the report is about North Korea, for example. They fake, a candidate for hiring, and two things happen. Those guys who are being hired, they are fake, they're not real, they get the money, and the government will get the information from inside those companies. So you see how convoluted, how it's multiple levels here, and the AI is opening the door for them. It's a big responsibility on the companies and the government to protect against AI attacks.
Yes, and it's really scary how realistic these things are becoming these days. Professor Ahmed Benafa, a tech professor at San Jose State University, thank you so much for providing your insight into this. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Andrew.
All right.